you first have to have a good idea. And it has to be an idea that is organic and from the heart. There has to be passion behind it because the days are long, the nights are even longer, and there are a lot of frustrations along the way. And so with the well thought out idea and the passion to pursue it, you're able to, as best as possible, anticipate some of the hardships and build a strong enough foundation to hopefully weather the things that you can't anticipate.
Yeah, very much so.
That's any business, no matter big or small. You have to be passionate and be able to take the licks and keep on going.
So welcome to Vegas Circle with Paki and Chris, and today we are sitting down with the co-owners and founders of the Speakeasy Candle Company. We've got Mr. RUBEN Alexander, and we also got Miss ALISHA Alexander. They've got an amazing store inside the new Uncommons on the southwest side. So welcome to the show, guys. Good to see you guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So I got to tell just a quick backstory. So my wife and I probably went to, I think, your shop right when you guys first opened. I honestly, this isn't scripted or anything. I was honestly amazed with their store. We went to buy a present, for a friend of ours, and we got the exclusive. Basically, this is a speakeasy candle bar.
Yes.
And today we want to kind of talk about how, you can build a successful candle company, and also how you develop this concept of a candle bar. Yeah. So we want to kind of jump into it. So originally, you guys are from Atlanta, Georgia, from my understanding, right?
Yes, that's home.
Yeah, okay. Atlanta's home. We've been away for a while, but that's where we met each other. That's where
excellent.
We grew up.
Yeah, I went to a different high school for 1 year, and that's where I met this guy.
Okay, that's excellent. Yeah. Atlanta is buzzing like crazy.
Yeah, big time.
What made you want to come and start in Vegas versus staying in Atlanta with the concept that you guys have?
Yeah, well, you know what? Our professional careers have kind of taken us on a journey.
Okay.
My background is product development and fashion design. Okay. So my first footprint outside of home was Chicago.
Oh, that's my hometown. Okay.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, I lived in Chicago for a bit, and then I spent 6 years in New York.
Okay.
So after my husband's training program for his specialty, we were in Atlanta, and it was growing and it was bursting at the seams and everything that we wanted, but he honestly just got an offer that we couldn't refuse.
That helps, yeah.
It was one of those things, it was one of those things that we both said, we can't turn down Vegas without first having gone to visit and truly giving it a chance outside of the Strip. Yeah. I personally, at that time, had never been to Vegas. I mean, hangover was the extent of my Vegas.
All you think is the Strip.
The Strip. And I knew better because people do the same for all the major cities. They think one way about Atlanta, Chicago, and all the major cities based on movies and culture and all those things. So I wanted to go see it myself. And once we got here, I was like, well, churches and grocery stores and shopping and retail. It's just a whole vibe, So we didn't leave intending to stay, but honestly,
you get hooked in Vegas.
You get hooked. It's a lifestyle, It's great for the family. It's great for both of us right now professionally. And, you can't beat the weather, especially with the other cities I just listed.
Especially New York, Chicago.
He's from Detroit originally.
Get me out of there. I can't be in that cold.
Oh, my gosh. So,
it's exciting. I mean, it's exciting to see, exactly what you just mentioned is Chris and I, we talk about it all the time. Of course, you want to go out, and obviously the Strip is where you want to go to. Yeah. But it's so beautiful to see, Uncommons, and I want to get into that, of course. But everything that they're doing off the Strip is so much better for, obviously, us as locals and things like that. And then Durango Casino that's opening up across the street. So fashion industry is what you've been part of. How have you kind of transitioned with using the fashion industry to what you're doing now? And also, I saw that you were actually a mixologist, right?
Not a mixologist. Just love a great drink.
So I read it wrong.
And so, I would take crafted cocktails that we would go find at a speakeasy, and then he and I would just play around with what we experienced, take pictures of the craft cocktail menu and what was part of the drink, and then recreate. So that was a favorite pastime of ours while in New York. It was just finding speakeasies, finding great cocktails, and just experiencing that elevated experience. So honestly, bringing the fashion part of it in was a bit more natural to me. Fashion was something that kind of was, I like to say, in me, more innate than maybe others would like to acknowledge, or maybe that I was willing to acknowledge, right? Yeah. So when I got into buying and product development, it was just, it felt like I was home in terms of my happy place, my passion, my purpose. Yeah. But translating that into the candle business, a lot of that just came initially with aesthetic. I was very clear, vision board wise, product wise, offering and look and feel of what I wanted the space to look and feel like. Yeah. So like that experience in New York, in one of the fashion capitals, right? Yes, like from end to end, product development is about taking things from a mood board to the runway shows. So like to the show. And so, you know, that kind of translated. Like I created the product offerings based on collections, the look and feel I was able to pull from my favorite time period, which is the 20s, 30s, Gatsby. Like that's my whole
vibe. That vibe.
That's the vibe.
Okay.
You know, and then the candle industry at this point it's some would say saturated. Like you can get a candle at CVS right now.
That's a very good point. That's all I wanted to ask you.
Yeah. So like you have to carve a lane. And so like when we decided like, okay, let's do the cocktail candles. And then, you know, in speaking with RUBEN, he was like, well, how do we do this twist and how do we make it our own? You know, the Speakeasy idea was just like an aha moment. Like,
in Vegas.
In Vegas, you know, like
it's a home run. Yeah.
And, you know, so like people honestly do come and we had a guy come in the other weekend. He walked into the workshop. He was like, yeah, started ordering drinks. I'm like, wait, there's been a misunderstanding.
Yeah. He thought he was just going to set up and just that's hilarious. So, I can see that though. It looks like it though.
It looks like it. And so, you know, just being able to play in that lane where we still like entice people's both olfactive senses, but then also like those experiences that they want to touch and feel and be a part of.
Got it.
It's exciting.
So I wanted to ask too, and I know Chris will be jumping in too, but is this the only of its kind? I've never seen it. Like you see Speakeasy, like, you know, some of the restaurants and things like that, like the Mas Por Favors and things like that you see in Vegas. But does anybody have a candle style like this, or is this the first of it?
This is one of one to.
Okay, I was going to say. Okay, this is very unique. Okay,
yeah,
so did you guys kind of like, you know, put your stamp on it, and now this is kind of your template and copyrighted it and the whole nine?
Yeah, we've applied for the appropriate trademarks.
Trademarks, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Trademarks, yeah.
Appropriate trademarks to kind of make sure that our mark and our brand is protected in that way.
Awesome. Yeah.
But, you know, candle making workshops have been popping up, and that's not necessarily new. But the way we're doing it is truly one of one and first of its kind.
Yeah.
What I feel like we've learned in being here in Vegas and trying to find our lane as entrepreneurs, you know, you're doing the market research and what resonates and what doesn't, is that I feel like Vegas responds well to things that are for Vegas, created in Vegas by people that live in Vegas. And I mean, we see that with NFL and sports teams have huge followings, but Vegas kind of like embraced it fully because it was like, oh, this is us, you know.
We haven't had that a lot, I think. So you gravitate towards it pretty quickly. You gravitate
towards it, especially, you know, prior to, you feel like a lot of things were copy and paste for Vegas. Like, oh, this is working well here, Vegas will like it. And in a lot of ways that works too, but what Uncommons is doing and how they're curating and how they're positioning brands to like have a chance to connect with the market, I think it's just the local market.
It's organic.
Just organic.
It's very
organic. Authentic. And it's from the leadership through all the way through and through to the other business owners that are, you know, co-tenants, sister tenants as well.
No, I'm excited about it. Just backing up a little bit.
Yeah.
How did this come about? Like, how did you guys come up with this vision of this speakeasy? Like how long did it take? Was it something that you guys were in Atlanta or something you guys came up when you were here during the pandemic? Or
when we moved to Vegas, we moved for my job in particular. And she always said, well, I know I want to do a thing. I just need to figure out what that thing is.
Okay.
And she had ideas of opening a fashion design studio, boutique. It was always geared toward fashion, but the Vegas market is different. It's not in New York or LA. And she said, okay, well, what do I do differently? And the time that we were sat down during the pandemic when nothing was open, we're brainstorming. We're trying to figure out that next step.
How do we pivot?
And we actually drew on some of our experiences from New York. Hey, let's make some cocktails. Let's do this. And one night, we had the candles lit. We're drinking whatever it was, and it was, oh man, this is a cool vibe. And she just started looking into, well, I like candles. I've made them before. Can I do this? Like, is this something that I'll do as a pet project? And that's kind of how it seemed to start.
Just vibing at home.
But the way she is, if she likes something or if she's interested, she goes down the rabbit hole. And she realized that, okay, wait, I can do this in a very elegant way. I can craft a product that is not just something you pick up off the shelf, but something that has a story. And I can do this and actually have a storefront and put my aesthetic toward it. And that's where it came down to, okay, well, how do I do this? And she was stuck on the name. She had some great name options. She had an understanding of what she wanted the theme to be. And I think it was during one of our sessions that the name Speakeasy came about and the light bulb then went off.
Yeah. Once we decided on the Speakeasy, it became easier to like choose the products and everything else, the vibe, because at this point, like suppliers will give you, the fragrance world is endless. So like finding like which fragrances match your brand, if you don't niche down, it gets tough because it's like you can you can go citrusy, you can go aquatic, you can go like so many different realms within fragrances exist. But once we decided, you know what, we're going to translate fresh recipes from craft cocktails to a candle, that allowed me to like really like niche down and get our offerings together in terms of fragrance.
I probably have to go.
Yeah, so when you're trying to meld in these two different environments, right? Yeah. You have one which is candle making, one which is speakeasy. Speakeasies are inherently secretive, and most people aren't going to assume that a candle business is going to have a speakeasy in the back. Have you seen some challenges trying to navigate education to the clients that you have coming into your business and trying to showcase the ability to have a cocktail in the back if you want one or something along those lines? Have you seen any challenge with the educational piece of it?
You know what? Social media helps, right? Yeah. So social media, we're able to kind of show the setup that we have in the back, and then we show the setup in the front. And so it starts a conversation, but we then also have the people that do two things. They're walking past and they're just like,
trying to figure it out. Like what we did.
Arm, hands on the hip, like what, scrunched up face, like what is it? And they won't even cross the threshold. And then the other people just kind of come in and they're like grabbing at the doors, like, is there a hidden room?
Well, it was funny, just to tell you, when we were in there, you remember there was the three ladies that came in and like, what in the, and they just came right in the store and went right in the back, like, what is this? So it's a really cool concept. This might be a stupid question, but is the candles made with liquor, with actual liquor?
Very good question.
Great question.
Okay, I was trying to figure it out because it smells amazing. I was trying to figure it out.
So the short answer is no.
Yes.
Okay. Each candle is inspired by a particular cocktail. And if you notice, if you've ever smelled different liquors, rum has a distinct smell versus a gin versus a whiskey. Okay. So when she crafted the different flavor profile or scent profiles, it was based on the smell of those different flavors.
Okay.
And so that's how it comes together.
Okay. Yeah. So we like to say like a well-crafted cocktail has fresh ingredients. So, like our old fashioned is leading with orange, bitters, bergamot, and a little bit of honey. So like a sweetener. So those are our ways to kind of translate it from flavor to fragrance.
So you get both out. So you can go in there and essentially buy an old fashioned, but also have an old fashioned. So is that kind of how you pair them up? Is it any synergy between that part of it?
When we have our candle making, like candles and cocktails, we bring in a bartender, and the bartender is able to he uses our scent offerings to kind of be his inspiration. So he'll do an elevated old fashioned. He'll do a gin and tonic.
That's cool. Yeah.
He'll do a blood orange margarita. Like we actually have a candles and cocktails coming up this weekend, and he's doing a pumpkin espresso martini. And then a blood orange.
I'm excited. That sounds bomb.
So like you think about that. That's pumpkin. And that's espresso. That's coffee. And then like you try to get that milkiness. You try to recreate the creaminess, and then that's how we translate it from cocktail to candle.
Oh, exciting!
That's pretty cool. So how did you guys choose Uncommons? Like, was it something that you guys knew about, or did they recruit? Like, how did this all play out? Because you see all these different, stores that are there.
I heard it's kind of hard to get in there too.
Exactly.
It is hard to get in there.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna lie, I was pushing very hard for in my initial attempts to be a part of like somewhere in the arts district. It just felt like
originally downtown.
Downtown.
Okay.
That is the only place I applied to, pitched to. It was the only place I was interested in, and I had probably gotten like maybe my third or fourth no at 215 in Durango, and so I'm like, okay.
Did they not get they didn't get your guys' concept?
You know what?
Or?
It was a little bit of both. Some people just didn't get it. They're like, oh, a candle business. And it's like, we're more than that.
Yeah.
Like, if you take a second, like, let's go through this, And then some people were trying to, like, make us match the co-tenants. Like, it was about, curating, like, who's on that block.
Okay.
And there's limited real estate in the arts district, at least that people are trying to actually lease.
True. Yeah.
So with that being said, and some of the projects that they didn't really disclose that were coming, they were more so like, it's not the right time for a yes,
Got it.
I was at 215 in Durango, and I see the retail map for Uncommons. I'm like, what the hell is that? What is this? And so I literally pull over, and I'm like emailing the guy, like, you don't want to do Uncommons without me. Let's connect. And, he finally called me back. So it was literally like just, we live like 8 to 10 minutes. We live in the Southwest. So like we're part of that community where we've been saying like, we need our thing, like no shade to the other footprints. They do great things as well, but we want a 10-minute commute to something.
Driving back and forth to that's
That's literally what you say there all the time. You live in that area too. Yeah,
so
very much so.
It's just, it was needed. Like, and I had told them during the day that I pitched, I was like, listen, if I don't work for Uncommons, that's fine. I know I'm going to be a customer supporter. I'm going to circle back here because bringing my family here just felt like the best weekend plans for us at the time.
Yeah. No, that makes complete sense. And I mean, honestly, the way you've put in it, I could see it working in the art district, but it does, for some reason, it fits very well in Uncommons, the way you guys set up everything. I'm not just saying that, it really does. How did you guys become like the first business to open there? That's what I was trying to figure out.
Because, that was not, I mean, it was intended, we knew we were the first.
Yeah.
But
that's stressful, I'm not going to lie. That's
we
extremely
didn't
stressful.
know we were going to be the first for that long.
Okay.
Meaning there was supposed to be a few other openings like right behind us. That just didn't work out for those businesses. But I'm a firm believer in everything works out
timing,
the way it's supposed to. Like we were able to use that time to kind of train our staff on board and like get some processes in place that we didn't have operationally, like because this was so new. But it, the traffic that we got those first few weeks was literally who we told, like, Auntie, I need you to pull up.
Well, you know what I noticed is the word of mouth is going around. How do you guys advertise? I know you guys do a lot of like the social media, but do you guys do your traditional advertising too to kind of get your placements to drive traffic to Uncommons, or how's that working?
So it's honestly, Uncommons is such a new footprint that media requests are just part of it. Like people are reaching out because they want to know more. What is Uncommons? Right? Like Uncommons doesn't really intentionally, so it feels like just disclose like this is the experience to expect here. They kind of want you to come in and do a dance and figure it out for you. Organically. You like, I saw people walking, let me go over there and check it out. And so like that's been the approach so far. So like this is one of those things where advertising and marketing, we really haven't even had the opportunity to fully tap into it. It's all been organic. It's all been, either somebody referrals or I was in the neighborhood or, yes, our anchor tenant, Earth Cafe. Like they get on the weekends, the whole quad is like packed. And so once those bellies are full, people are like, well, what is over here? And I'm like, hi.
It's great. It's a great mix.
So
yeah. I think it's going to get even better as they continue to develop the residential portion of it. You have those built-in clientele, and I think more exposure with more restaurants. I feel like you came in at the almost perfect time.
Yeah,
it
worked out.
The template. You said it
worked out. Because I can't imagine like the traction that we're getting now, if we were to be set to be like a November 1 business, like in the candle market, landing right in the heart of holidays, it just, I don't think we would have got the same momentum. So it worked out.
It's awesome. Everything's timing, like you were saying.
Of course.
What's kind of the goal of this? Would it be like a franchise model where you guys is that kind of the vision down the road? I see you looking at you. Yeah.
We're still
just because it's one-on-one, it's just amazing.
We're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
We're at the point now where before we launched, before the doors were open, we had a discussion. Okay, well, what do we do a year from now? What's the ultimate goal? And we know we want to make a mark on the community. If we do that with a single store and that's it, or if we have multiple corporate stores where we retain ownership and direction, or if it becomes a franchise, the jury's still out. Excellent. I think only over time will we see how to best grow the business so that the essence of the business remains the same. I think when people have come in, they've talked about how they feel the good vibes, how, of course, it smells amazing, but they appreciate the energy. And you can't just copy and paste that. You can't just say, oh, I want to have 5 stores just because. It has to be done right. And ALISHA is the one where when we are ready to expand, if that time comes, it will be researched thoroughly. It will be planned down to the detail. That's
I see it with the store. I see it with the store for sure, hands down. So that's excellent. Yeah.
We're already getting some of those requests, like, oh, come to the Strip. And I'm just, can we get through month 6? Can we
because your lights
feed the baby?
First thing you think about it, you think business, you're like, wow, this is just ROI, it's just crazy.
Exactly. It could be a thing, but I am one of those, like, organic and slow. I'd rather be the tortoise and do it right than to just zip through. And we've seen those type of models work here in Vegas where some pretty dope leaders are leaders in the entrepreneurship space, whether it's F&B or just other experiences, are doing cool shit in Vegas.
Yeah, that's true.
And quickly. But for us, like the fact that we're hand pouring still, which is a heart of our business model, like we make all of the candles in-house.
Oh, wow.
I say we a lot, but he does leave the hosting of the workshops to me. So right now, I host all of the workshops.
Shots fired.
Come on, babe. You know you want to host one.
Well, Chris is a good counselor. He was battling us on our
I just recorded
arguments. He records us all the time. So we need a counselor. But no, that's excellent.
Oh, my God. So, just right now, everything is very hands-on. We still hand stamp. We order things locally. Like, everything is about the brand, has our fingerprint on it, and until I get to until I feel like we get to a point where we are able to literally recreate the model and it still have the same aesthetic and the same quality and the same experience, then I would, like I said, I'd just rather be the tortoise.
That makes sense because you're creating a boutique atmosphere. So when you kind of institutionalize it and make it mass produced, it doesn't really get the same feel.
Speakeasy, like a big part of the speakeasies are not meant to be copied and pasted and just placed everywhere. Like you want to still have like that hidden gem component that like you got to find, you got to be in the know. Can't get this everywhere.
You can do different theme speakeasies.
We love, like, with all of us being from out of town, that's what brings it in Vegas. Like you mentioned New York. That's what I love so much about New York and Chicago's and LA's is like you don't have the traditional kind of brick and mortar. It's all organic, so it fits very, very well. It's exciting to see what you guys are doing and where it takes you guys. You know, with us being a business show, what is a gem you could share for our listeners?
I think you first have to have a good idea. And it has to be an idea that is organic and from the heart. There has to be passion behind it because the days are long, the nights are even longer, and there are a lot of frustrations along the way. And so with the well thought out idea and the passion to pursue it, you're able to, as best as possible, anticipate some of the hardships and build a strong enough foundation to hopefully weather the things that you can't anticipate.
Very much so.
That's any business, no matter big or small. You have to be passionate and be able to take the licks and keep on going.
I would like to second that. But I also feel like entrepreneurship especially is getting like this social media hype of, oh, quit that job and just start this new business. Like, listen, go for your dreams, do what serves you and is part of your purpose, but do the work. right? Like spend time in your craft, become an expert. To the point that when people are asking you questions, whether you're pitching for investors or trying to bring on new clients or just trying to close that sale with locals or what have you, like spend time with the work, with the craft. And it once you start to like get that lens of it takes time, all the other noise of, you know, why is this happening to me, you know, changes to why is this is happening for me, you know? So like it's a little bit of that mindset shift. And then also like kind of like what Ruben was saying, like anticipating the valleys, like that things are going to get a bit tough and you still got to stick with it. And that's part of it. Like it's not show up on social media and, you know, just
overnight success.
And yes, there are brands and people and creators that have that moment. But when we talk about the percentages and the ratios of that, like we're tied.
It's not the norm.
I feel confident with a 95.5. Like,
well, you can see with just what both of your mindsets together, like what you were mentioning earlier, Ruben, is like you were saying, no, we're not ready to do the franchise. We want to make sure this is done right strategically. And you could see that all the pieces that you guys put together for your business, it makes sense, and it's a great concept. So we root for you guys for sure.
Oh, thank you.
Just transitioning a little bit, we always talk about restaurants. So I'm very curious, what is y'all's favorite restaurant in Vegas?
Anima by EDO right now at the moment.
Okay, we were just talking about that last night. Literally, just talked about that last night.
I just go and do the tasting menu. Like I don't ask no
right
questions.
You see her looking at me right now. We just made a reservation for somewhere on Friday. That's funny you say that. Okay, excellent. Yeah.
So like EDO in its own right has a footprint. I believe like Jones and Spring Mountain area, like Chinatown, I believe. And so like I haven't been there, but I've heard amazing things. And so I told you, we live in the Southwest. So when they opened at the Gramercy, we stumbled in one day. And now if we get to sneak out of the store a bit early, we're
go there. I'm glad you said that. I just messed up then. I'm going to rephrase. Yeah, that's excellent. I've not been there yet.
Amazing.
Okay. Like, we've been to the other one that was in, I think it's in Spring Mountain in that area, Chinatown, but not this new one. So,
the EDO is already like buzzworthy alone. But like Anima... Like the tasting menu is just amazing. The cocktails are amazing. Everything feels elevated. So like their whole specialty is like Italian and Spanish combined.
Mixed.
So come on now.
That's a win. That's a whole run. I messed up basically what I'm saying. I messed up. So how about you? Is that your favorite one too? Or
it is. Probably aside from that is Harlow.
I love
a good steak.
Yeah, Harlow's very good. Yeah.
I first went for a business meeting, and then I said, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I'm telling her all about it. And her eyes just start to squinch like, you're bragging about this restaurant that I have not gone to.
Oh, got you.
So I think like within the next week, we had gone back together, and we've been back a few times since.
Harlow's actually very good.
I ate this elk there. It was the most amazing meal I ever had. I'm like, I've never had elk before elevated to that level, and it was just fantastic.
She's a beast. Shout out to the chef. Yeah, she's great.
Caviar tacos. That was my first caviar experience. So it was like bite-sized caviar tacos. I was like, what is happening?
No, they're easy. Yeah. Well, you guys hit on two great ones. I'm going to definitely check out the one you guys mentioned. I've been to Harlow, so I'm definitely going to check that out. What else is on the horizon for you guys, man? What do you guys want to accomplish maybe in 2023 coming up?
It feels like right now is... I don't like to say this, but I do want the implication to be there. Is getting in our groove. Like, I don't believe that, like, work-life balance is like this, you know, thing where everything is in perfect harmony and all of those things. But right now we have two girls. Right now the business baby is crying the most. So like being able to build the right staff of people who are motivated and eager to like really build a local business and put in that work, but then also making sure we're still there for our girls is like important to me. Like I'm coming from like, yes, corporate, but then the first 4 years of my 7-year-old's life, I was a stay-at-home mom.
That's awesome.
So like that was like, and then now I have a 2-year-old, and it's different because now mommy's at work all the time. And so I know for me, like I not putting that pressure on myself to give equally to everybody, especially without pouring in my own cup, but creating like manifesting the resources so that we can make sure that we're still tapping into each other and that the business is still growing and that our girls still know that mommy and daddy love
That's hard
them.
to do. Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. It's extremely, I'm dealing with that right now. It's extremely,
It's just, I mean, what can you, I mean, part of it too is that when your kids see you grinding, like that pours into them in a lot of ways as well. Like, because I remember my parents grinding and those later hours, but now they're like the hands-on grandparents, you know, who are able to like tap in because they put in the work.
Yeah.
And so now they're closer to retirement and being able to like tap in with our family and our dynamic. But
somebody just asked me this literally over the weekend. They were asking about what you just said. Like, it's almost like there is no work-life balance.
It's not.
You just got to fit in
it's a myth.
The way you have to do it. But you know what I was saying is, just from my perspective, is like my wife and I, because we're busy too, 7 days a week, got kids and stuff. Chris, same thing, 3 kids, the whole nine, busy all the time. But it's like you have to put things on the calendar or it's not going to happen. We literally put it on the calendar and say, hey, this date we're doing this and no excuse, let's just make it happen. You know what I mean?
So, but being intentional helps. And especially if it's a date night or like a little just grown folks time, it's like,
exactly.
Ooh.
You need it.
Yeah,
you lose your damn mind. So it's, for sure.
So like we're definitely just trying to build that team around us where the business baby just can fall in line a bit more and we're able to still like tap back in and keep the flame
going.
Yeah,
that's what's up, man. That's what's up. Well, we honestly, it's an absolute pleasure to have both of you guys on, man. We're rooting for you guys, and we'll keep tabs on it, bring you guys back. Everything is open with Uncommons, be able to share how you guys are doing everything. Where can people find you guys? What's the social handles and things? Yeah.
We are at _ Speakeasy Candle Co.
Awesome.
So lead with the _
Well, check them out, guys. It's an amazing business concept that you guys have done. So congratulations, and you can check us out at thevegascircle.com and subscribe with us. So appreciate you guys' time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was absolutely awesome.